All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Thanks for joining me today and every day on the interwebs. Um, yeah, we're all here. We're live on Callin. We're live on Rockfin. Callin people, how you doing? Rockfin people, how are you? How are you? Force and Climate Info is on Rockfin. Urban Hermit's on Rockfin. Osama's on Rockfin. Brenda's on Rockfin. William is on Rockfin. All right. And lots of people on YouTube filing in. Filing through the door, coming to the meeting. Coming to the jam. All right. Well, let's get into it. There's so much. I'm going to try and bring back a bunch of things that I didn't talk about over the last few days, and that means we're probably going to have a cutoff time on YouTube, and I'm going to switch over to Rockfin because a lot of those things require going over to Rockfin to talk about. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up that we'll be switching over to Rockfin in a little while. Let's see. But I want to talk about this story because I saw it a couple days ago, and it tickled me, honestly. Revenge of the Orcas. I mean, I don't know. I guess through human history, we have battled against the elements. And probably the reason why we're in the predicament we're in now is that we have prevailed over the elements. We've prevailed so mightily that there's just no stopping us, which makes humans feel, pretty good about themselves, pretty confident, feel like we're pretty powerful. And we are, but we're powerful. We can be powerful in the good way and not necessarily the bad way, as in destroying everything around us. Kind of powerful. Anyways, nature doesn't have any voice against us, right? We love to talk about human rights and civil rights. We love to talk about equity and people who are oppressed, not being oppressed anymore, these are all good things. But nature doesn't have a voice in that. And yeah, some people defend nature. Yes, some people say, hey, how about these animals and how about this nature over here that we're destroying? Maybe we shouldn't treat them so badly. And mostly humans just go, ha ha, you guys are funny. That's nice. It's so nice that you care. But in a larger way, nature doesn't have a voice. We have ecosystem services, which is what nature gives to us monetized. And we take from these ecosystem services without really acknowledging, that we might be taking too much. But so, it's not such a bad thing that nature sometimes, and nature will, unfortunately, for the humans, nature will strike back in a way that probably won't be very pleasant. That's coming. But in an immediate sense, whales have suddenly decided that boats carrying humans, these people don't treat us very well. These people are not friendly to us. These people don't like us. They don't respect us. They're killing, they're taking everything out of they're plundering the ocean. They're taking, they're poisoning the ocean. They're poisoning where we live. What was that article I was reading about? How humans are the only sentient beings, or the only, evolved. What? Dolphins have proven very smart. Whales have proven very smart. Octopi have proven very smart. Having great degrees of intelligence, just because they don't look like us and drive $100,000 cars to their job doesn't mean that they're not evolved or less intelligent. Anyways, the spate of encounters between orcas and boats off the Iberian coast has puzzled scientists and sailors, as seemingly coordinated ambushes by the killer whales led to the sinking of 3 vessels. Seemingly coordinated ambushes. The reason for the attacks, according to one scientist who has studied the phenomenon, may be revenge. The leading theory is that a female orca suffered a traumatic incident with a boat, a critical moment of agony that caused her to start attacking the vessels. Alfredo Lopes Fernandes, a marine biologist at the University of Aveiro in Portugal, told the industry publication Live Science. The majority of the disruptive interactions between orcas and boats off the Iberian Peninsula in the past few years, Fernandez said they numbered in the hundreds, have been brief and caused minimal physical damage to the vessels, according to the report co-written by him and published in the journal Marine Mammal Science. But on at least 3 occasions, including one incident this month involving a sailing yacht, the orcas have sunk the boat. The female orca, whom scientists named White Gladys, appears to have taught the aggressive behavior to other adult orcas, whose children have begun imitating the behavior, Fernandez said. In most of the interactions, the orcas strike the rudder or hull, the underbody of the boat, according to the report, which included interviews with sailors and other witnesses to the phenomenon. Aside from some punctual aversive incident that may have triggered the attacks, the report said that they may be caused by factors like loss of prey or disturbances by the boats. Otherwise, the report says, it may just be because of the killer whale's natural curiosity. Orcas are known to be extremely intelligent and capable of teaching one another certain behaviors, including actions that could be interpreted as violent. Sounds like violence. Are you talking about violence? We can't have any talk about violence or discuss any violent things. That would be violent. Talking about violence or discussing violent things could lead to violence and make people feel violent, and we don't like that. Just a sidebar. Listen, man. I know that we love the nonviolent protests and discussions and stuff, but humans are violent creatures. And the most violent of them are the people that run the joint. The people that, point tanks and missiles and nuclear weapons at other countries or drop them on innocent people. Those are the most violent, organized, because they're very respectable and they wear suits, but they're the most violent people of all. So, and also words are not violent. Words might be scary, might be hurtful. I'm hurt, but they're not violence. Violence is violence. But let's I don't know. I'd like to rethink the violence thing myself, because I think in some cases violence is completely and totally acceptable and probably appropriate. Appropriate response to some things, violence is completely appropriate. Anyways, in some cases. Bella says, shaking my head, Black Bear News, violence is the last refuge of the incompetent. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying lead with violence. I'm just saying there are moments when violence might be appropriate. Discernment is key, right? I'm not saying always go with violence. Just saying. I mean, what is it called when you are able to defend yourself, right? There are laws about being able to defend yourself, right? If somebody's attacking you, what if somebody's, harassing you, attacking you, threatening you? I don't know. I think violence sometimes is justified, especially if you're defending yourself. Yes, obsolete optics. And I don't know. The protests in France are somewhat violent. A lot of liberals in the U.S. would be clutching their clutching their pearls at the violence in France. Remember the violence during the George Floyd protests? There was some violence there, and the pearl clutching was by pearl clutching at the white supremacist side of the violence, but not the other side of the violence. People who were pissed off and angry, that was totally fine. Well, there's an instance where violence is totally fine, depending on your political stance or your point of view. And honestly, if I was pissed off about police brutality and so mad that I had to get out and start maybe destroying some property or whatever, like that, there were people during that time saying that's totally fine. That's to be expected when somebody's been oppressed for so long. Well, yeah. Anyways, just saying. Another report published in Marine. Anyways, the orcas have been attacking, killing, and eating blue whales. What could be made of the coordinated attacks on the boats? The report warned that if the situation continues or intensifies, it could become a real concern for the safety of sailors, but also for the orcas, which are endangered in the region because they could harm themselves by attacking the boats. We would never harm them or be harmed by sailors trying to protect their look what they're saying. They're actually saying right there, they could be harmed by sailors protecting their vessels. There's an instance where violence is completely fine. I'm protecting my vessel. Anyways. Yes, obsolete optics. Violence is also necessary to stop tyranny. Or it probably is necessary to stop tyranny. What did Christine Anderson say yesterday? You're not going to comply your way out of tyranny. That's for sure. Anyways. Interesting story, don't you think? From Poppy, Kansas farmers are giving up the ghost on wheat, intentionally spraying fields with crop-killing chemicals and claiming insurance payouts more than normal, betting the grain is not worth harvesting. Why? Because of drought. Extreme drought. These are farmers doing things because of extreme drought. Wow. I wonder what's going on the planet. Really. Anyways. Why? Why are you doing this, Reuters? You're so annoying. Farmers in Kansas, the biggest U.S. Oh, Jesus. Hold on one second. Let's see. Where are we? Is it this one? Is it this one? We'll try this one. See if this works. Anyways, Farmers in Kansas are abandoning their crops after a severe drought and damaging cold ravaged farms. They are intentionally spraying wheat fields with crop-killing chemicals and claiming insurance payouts more than normal, betting the grain is not worth harvesting. Other growers are turning over dismal-looking fields to cattle for grazing. Abandoning fields will lead to a smaller U.S. wheat supply on the world's number 5 wheat exporter, with stocks seen falling to a 16-year low. High rates of abandonment deal an economic blow to farm towns and force wheat buyers to adjust procurement plans by buying the staple grain elsewhere. Nationally, winter wheat farmers plan to abandon 33% of the acres they farmed or they planted. Wow. Kansas farmers are expected to abandon about 19% of the acres planted last autumn, up from 10% last year and 4% in 2021. Wow. So 4%, 10%, 19%. Do you see a trend? Do you see a trend line? Crop conditions point towards an outcome similar to 1989 when farmers did not harvest 28% of the wheat they planted. But if this is happening, increasingly happening year after year, something is going on, don't you think? And, go ask a farmer. Are people having problems growing food? Go ask a farmer. Do you think they're having problems growing food because the climate is different? Go ask a farmer. I'm sure they'll tell you, yeah. Anyways, at least 60% of the crop is expected to be abandoned around Lacken in southwestern Kansas. 47% in western Kansas. Wow. Parts of Oklahoma are suffering too. In 6 northern counties, an estimated 65% to 70% of the crop will not be harvested. Holy shnikes. That a 65 to 70%. While farmers get some financial protection from insurance, local businesses are at risk. Wow. All right. That is certainly concerning indeed. Let's move on. I got to speed up this presentation a little bit. This is funny. Fantomas sent this one that climate scientists flee Twitter as hostility surges. I mean, maybe. I can tell you. I do see. I have to actually say this is true. This is very, very much true. On all climate change, centric or aware channels, not mine though, for whatever reason. I guess because I'm a little bit different, but I see people being attacked for their views. I see a lot of climate denial response to people who are spreading the word about climate change or giving news about climate change. So there is a lot of response to it from the denial camp, and there's quite a bit of climate denialism going on. Listen, I don't think that people should shut down debate. I don't think that people should say stuff like the science is settled. I think that is not going to help your case. You're going to have to present your case. But some of these people I think are, as paid, just like, there are several other types of troll out there or bots out there that some of these people are paid accounts, paid to go and harass. people talking about climate change. I mean, I just kind of responded to Tony Heller the other day, or was it yesterday? I don't know. You know, putting out a post and implying that like these climate, you know, this climate organization, I think it was the Sierra Club, is paid millions of dollars every year to tell you about this hoax. And I was like, really? They have more money than the fossil fuel industry, who pays you. I don't know how much they pay you to spread manure on the internet every year, but they pay you. I'm sure they pay you very handsomely, geologists. So, you know, the idea that scientists are being paid to promote climate change is not, I'm sorry, those coffers are not as deep as the fossil fuel coffers paying people to go out and tell you that everything's fine and there's no such thing as climate change. Those are way deeper pools of money and way darker. So sorry, that's a silly idea. It's absolutely goofball. So I don't know. And I even think Tony Heller in his tweet said something like clean, reliable energy. Well, you sound like an Exxon commercial there, doofus. But it's true. They are getting, people who are talking about climate change are getting hassled a lot. Why? Because I see it. So that's a true story. They're not necessarily, you know, I don't see the climate change aware people clutching their necessarily, but they do get a lot of grief. And so maybe some people don't want all the grief. I don't know. Hold on one second. I see you, Phantomas. Just trying to get this. Yeah. Get this up. Somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. I don't know. Let's try it out. Let's see. Well, let's try it out and see. See if I can hear you. Can I hear you? Not yet. Hold on, Phantomas. I'm sorry. This is likely user error. Hold on, Phantomas. Totally user error. I have the volume turned down on that channel. So, Phantomas, you're on. Hello? Nothing? You should be on, sir. No? I can't hear you. I'm not. Oh. Well, Phantomas, now I think that there's something on your end that's... I don't know why I can't hear you. Try and call back in. All right, now try it. No. There we go. It was on your end, I think. Phantomas, hello. I mean, I've got a nice big buzz here on this line, so I think it's something on your end, sir. I heard you for a second. Oh, well. No? No. Okay. Trying again. Oh, yes, yes, no. Here we go. All right. Are you there? That's weird, man. I don't know. Well, it should be on, because if you hear that big fat buzz, that means that the line is open. So, I don't know. Phantomas, I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Although, man, Phantomas, I just saw that Tina Turner passed away. That sucks. icon, super, super, super icon. Anyways, yes, a lot of people are being harassed for talking about climate change, but just, somewhat ridiculous. Oh man! All right, so quickly go through a couple other stories very quickly because we are going to take off from YouTube and go to, whoops, Carapo. Hold on, guys. Hold on. On Sleepy. Or is that hang on, Sleepy? Sleepy, hang on. You know the thing, man. You know the thing. Hold on, guys. Hold on. All right. We're doing it live. So sorry. Yeah. All right. Okay. Back on people back. Annual emissions reductions of at least 9% were required in order to stay under 2C. Emissions reductions were required to stay under 2C. Global energy-related CO2 emissions grew by 0.9% or 321 megatons in 2022, reaching a new high of over 36.8 gigatons. We are going in the wrong direction, says Peter Dines. Yeah, because we're not we're not turning down the faucet on fossil fuels. Not going to happen. And if we did, then if we did turn down the faucet, then that would require the economy to actually start downsizing, and people would have to understand what that all means. And nobody's telling anybody anything about that. Everybody is just living in this, these compartmentalized modes of understanding things. Like, well, it's just emissions, and we just got to get rid of these emissions, and then things are going to get better, and stuff like that. Yes, I also saw that, Poppy Davis. Where did you send me that article? France is preparing for 4C of warming by 2100. Well, I don't know how you prepare for extinction. I mean, 4C is done and dusted. As Roger Hallam says, 4C is done. Like, you don't prepare for that. I don't know how you prepare for that. You start growing your food in labs and live underground. Is that how you prepare for it? Does everybody start wearing, suits, like hazard, suits, bubbles that keep out the outside and keep in the inside? How do you prepare for that? I don't know. You don't prepare for that. So it's kind of like a weird thing to say, but sure. Okay. Fine, France. Ramp. Wamp. Wah. Well, I think I saw that you sent it to me, but I'm going to have to find it tomorrow. Sorry for the lag here, guys. Also, Doomer Girl News posted this about chocolate. Our addiction. We need our chocolate. Meeting the world's insatiable appetite for chocolate has wrought a huge environmental cost, as the incredibly rich and diverse rainforests of West Africa are razed to make way for cocoa farms. And pretty much everything else that we require, right? We need these things in the stores. We need to have them. We need these things in the stores at all times, and if we don't have them, then something is very, very wrong. But in order to do that, we have to just hack away at the planet. Chocolate sales have boomed in recent months. As the cost of living crisis bites, consumers are increasingly reaching for chocolate as a simple and affordable pleasure. The most important ingredient in chocolate is cocoa beans, which come from plants, or cocoa beans, however you want to say it, grown in the tropics. About 70% of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa. The countries of Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana are two of the biggest producers. Anyways, meeting the world's insatiable appetite for chocolate has wrought a huge environmental cost, as the incredibly rich and diverse rainforests of West Africa are razed to make way for cocoa farms. The Upper Guinean forests of West Africa have been classified as a global biodiversity hotspot due to their exceptional concentrations of plant and animal species found nowhere else on Earth, but much of this forest has now been destroyed. Since 1950, Côte d'Ivoire has lost up to 90% of its forest cover, and Ghana has lost 65%. Cocoa has been the primary driver of this deforestation, together with other crops, mining, and logging. But the exact contribution of cocoa plantations to the problem is not well understood. This is due in part to the lack of an accurate, high-resolution map of cocoa growing trees or areas. Without a map, we don't know where the chocolate we consume comes from, in particular, and maybe that's intentional, right? We found that the land area devoted to cocoa is enormous, comprising more than 7 million hectares of plantations across both countries. The result is far greater than official figures, up to 40% higher in Ghana's case. What's more, much of the cocoa plantation area exists in vast areas of what was once native forest. More than 1.5 million hectares of land under cocoa production is located in protected areas. How do we fix it? I don't know. All right. So here we are. I think we're at the end of the time on YouTube. My friends, and now we're going to switch off YouTube and go to Rockfin. So YouTubers, thank you so much for hanging out. Oh, before I leave, you know, got to go through the thing. Really good way to support the show is Venmo. There's the address on the screen there. Cash App. These are most direct and excellent ways to support the show. buymeacoffee.com/BlackBearNews. Also, Super Chats, greatly appreciated. And Super Rays on Rockfin, also appreciated. You can subscribe to my channel on Rockfin, and that also supports the show. You can also subscribe to me on Patreon at Black Bear News, where I post the links from every show. So if you're a subscriber there, you can get all the links from all the shows that I do. All right. I'll see you on Rockfin, everyone.